Hello, today I am doing a reading about whether or not we're at war. And the way I did my chart, I will explain. And my chart is basically right here. And it's a mess, so I'm not going to try to, I wouldn't want to show it to you because I write all over my charts and I sort of unfold them. Okay, and why did I want to read this chart? What was compelling me? Well, I took Horary and I wanted to understand. I was listening to the news, and oftentimes I don't listen to the news a lot, so I want to make this clear. I'm really kind of anti-news in some ways. I'm kind of my camera. Anyway, I'm sort of anti-news, and the reason being is that I find that something's wrong with the way our news is being delivered. And I really don't want to feed into the process of that it's called fake news or the taglines we've been hearing, because some of those same people that are calling it fake news are absolutely the reason it's so fake and phony. And what I felt when I was listening to the news was that there's an agenda. There's a desire for us to believe something that's not true, maybe not real. And so we're suffering from a state of being distracted, which in every way I find very truthful. In a sense, I don't know if you can see this, but right here, we've got Saturn in the 12th house of imprisonment, where in a lot of ways, in Pisces, 1 degree, we're really experiencing a sense of being locked in and unable to properly maneuver, okay? Maybe spiritually, physically, but the 12th house is the house of imprisonment. And what are we imprisoned for? Well, in ways, it's ruled by Jupiter. We're being asked to not expand. We're being asked to keep expansion, our wokeness, in the 12th house, where we have no access to it, or we have no perceived access to it, because it is the subconscious that happens in the 12th house. So in a way, we're being asked to not really know your imprisonment, but it's there. And they're wanting us. And how are they doing this to us? What's really happening? Well, what this chart suggests is that war is a process of creating dis-ease. Okay, this is the 6th house of health and disease, and it's got the sun disposed of, or excuse me, the moon disposed of by the sun, which means that in every way, which the sun and the moon are squaring each other in this chart, this has to do with how we're seeing the light, and we're not exactly seeing it. And so these stories, this 10th house of government, right there, Mercury, we're being told stories about what it all is. We're being given distracted information. We're being asked to believe things that just really are not true. We're being asked to believe that it is okay for us. We should want to vote for this president who has 91 felony charges against him. And I'm sorry, no matter what you're being told, there's 91 charges against him from his peers. The people that come together and do grand jury are not the people who are in political positions. They're people like you and me who have come forward and said, hey, wait a minute, there's a problem. This guy's not being honest. Now, I know a lot of people really identify with Trump and his presidency. That was, but I want you to understand something. It was, it's no longer. Whatever the story people are telling themselves, whether he's the president, not the president, the fantasy, the lies, the stories, they're stories. And we have to quit telling ourselves stories so that we can get on with the business of living life. Now, to go in Aquarius, we have some opportunity to do just that. what's coming? Well, for us, Pluto is going to be in this story. Let me see where I find it in this chart. Yeah, Pluto is going to be in the 11th house, where as a group now, we're going to change our minds. We're going to start choosing for the group. Now, I participated in a class this weekend, and I've done other kinds of things, but this here was about how I communicate and what I let manage my sense of communication, and how we all have a box of the way we listen and the way we communicate that restricts us in every way from having a bigger vocabulary, because we stay stuck in our little box of how I hear you, how I want to speak, and am I hearing you, or do I just want to speak? What's really happening here? And so what I'm concluding is that we are, in a sense, at war, a spiritual war. Where's this war coming from? Well, it is actually coming from a foreign location. It isn't coming from the United States. And I've always kind of thought, what if we're so in debt to other countries that we no longer really operate based upon just our own way of being? And I think that's what this chart shows, is that a lot of this is religion, which is the age-old reality. It's money and how money gets managed, which again is an age-old reality. And it's has led to a spiritual war, that somewhere, someone, a foreign someone, is in charge. And they're wanting us here in the States to be distracted and not really know the truth. Now, I'm going to say that I, as a human, find myself deeply concerned, not so much for my life, because I'm 63. I've lived my life, really. I have lots of opportunity, and, I've been able to go to school, and I've had privacy. I've known privacy. And many of the young people today are never going to know that. And I don't know what their stories are going to be for self, but I know that for me, this was very informative. That really stop listening to the noise, start hearing the silence, and start making your own mind up what it all means, because maybe it doesn't mean any of the things you're being led to believe. And I want you to hear this word. It's so important. Television. It's telling you how to be. And then we have this other thing that we do that I'm finding myself like I'm going to have to watch this carefully. The cellular phone. Okay, what is wrong with this thing? Well, I spend too much of my life sitting here playing on it and not living. And we are being asked to be distracted. We're being told that's what's normal. The cellular phone, the television that tells us who to be, tells us our vision. Okay, so what I'm going to use today is my Bloody Tears Tarot. And what do we get? We get Queen of Cups at the bottom of the pack. So whatever this is about, it's about the Queen of Cups. It's about the relationships and how we manage them and how they're being divided and pulled away from us. So hold that space. Because of chaos, they're keeping us from seeing the other cups. They're keeping only our cup present. So it has a lot of narcissism in its feel. The emotions are very narcissistic. So are we at war? Now, Whimsy, who I've been watching since I don't know when, since she started doing podcasts, is saying that essentially the same thing, that we're kind of in a war. Well, I think it's a spiritual war, but is it a bad thing? It's asking us to wake up and realize that we have something remaining. There's something left for us. We're not out of ideas. We're heartbroken. It's been a lot of chaos. It's the year of the dragon, which is the 5th in the lineup, coming forward, bringing us something powerful and new. And I'm actually really excited that it's the year of the dragon because I have a triad. I have a creative triangle, monkey, rat, dragon. And what am I doing? I'm writing a book. So here we are. Where are we? We are dealing with loss. We are feeling like there's nothing remaining, that our lives are a mere shadow of what they once were. And that possibly is true. Don't really know. And it's led us to this moment, which of course, the tower. What does the tower mean? Well, the tower is saying that really you've come to this place and in order to manage, you have to take the leap of faith. And a lot of times the tower, and this one, it doesn't show it, but a lot of times the tower will have people falling out of a fiery building at the very top or whatever it is, you know, transforming at in the very highest of places. This is saying that our background in a way has been so fuzzy and chaotic, and we're sort of walking around sort of in a state of disassociation and unaware that we're in a tower moment, but we are in a tower moment. And the sooner you realize this, the better for all of us, because we do have power. That's what they've been trying to stop from coming forward. They don't want us to take care of ourselves. They don't want us to see what's happening. Because if we look up and we see, we're going to protect ourselves. That's our nature. And here it is. We do have to go into retreat. The Nine of Swords. We have to go into retreat and figure out, it's actually not swords. This is wands. We have to go into retreat. We have to figure out what matters. This is in reverse. It's showing many of us are not figuring it out, that by standing in our own way, always see it as the sword, meaning that many of us stay stuck. And we want to talk about 45, and we want to talk about this, we want to talk about that. We want to be right. We don't want anything this or anything that. But let me tell you something. We better make some decisions right here, right now, because guess what? Our climate is changing. Our safety levels are changing, and you need to get your eye off the distractions. And you need to put them on what's really happening and take care of your life so you can survive this political foray. Do I think that 45 will win again? I don't think so. I think there's too much blood in the water now. I think more blood is coming. And if you feel so inclined, there is a couple of readings that I did when I really, when we had the election going on, because I wanted to see, is this guy, the second election that Biden won, is he going to win or lose? I was very afraid myself. I didn't want him to win. But I realize now that it doesn't really matter. He's still acting in every way as the dark president. And he says things that are just like, what is he talking about? You know, but again, what is this? This is, we're all operating in distraction. Do we really vote for our president? I'm not so sure we do. I'm not so sure that it isn't someone's selecting who we have in office from a limited pool of candidates that are willing to be compliant. And as I said in my last video, we choose quite old men, white, with a very particular set of rules, boundaries, and circumstances. We come to this life. We live our lives based upon a 23.5-degree slice of view. Our moon, our nodes, giving us all the information or lack therein of. So if you come to life and you think you're brilliant, no. You only get a tiny slice of the pie. Maybe 2 houses in the entire chart are really what you're doing. That might be all you're doing. I don't know. But with that, Bloody Tears Tarot, thank you for joining me here today. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. Book a reading, Deborah Montgomery Astrology. And I thank you so much for joining me here today.